This week's scenario is Outlast from the 2017 Steamroller packet. This scenario does have the Killbox Artifice in effect and consists of 2 circular zones which can be controlled for 1 CP by warrior units, warcasters, and warlocks, and 2 flags which can be controlled for 1 CP by solos, warcasters, and warlocks. Victory conditions consist of earning 5 more control points than your opponent or caster assassination.
So I decided to go with Ossyan this week. I think it'll be a good matchup. I think getting to go first with Ossyan will also be good. Get to run all my guns to be in good position. Unfortunately, I don't have all the models painted to play my Defenders of Ios in theme list for Ossyan, but we'll make do with what we have. When I do get that list, I'll try to get it on the channel. It's a really fun list. It basically replaces the Sentinels with Eloir Swordsman, which I feel do well with Quicken.
Hello, this is IronLichW, and for this particular matchup, I am bringing Scaverous. I had 2 lists. One was a Goresheather Ghost list, but looking at my opponent's list, they offered up some souls, so I decided to bring Scaverous because my opponent's infantry will help fuel Scaverous given the number of souls they have. And if you get Scaverous on a decent amount of souls, he's a very good caster and fun to play with. So I try and bring him whenever I can. He's actually one of my favorites. Although he does have a bunch of weaknesses, I try to power through it anyways. Luckily in this particular matchup, my opponent didn't bring any anti-magic.
Well, turn 1, going first with a gun line. I just want to run everything into position to get some good shots off on my following turn. And hopefully it'll go well for me, and I'll be able to get in a good feat if he gives me some stuff to shoot at.
Cryx turn 1. So my opponent's running up. Thus far I'm thinking I got a pretty good setup to go against because I have my Blood Witches on the right, so they're not going to necessarily be able to get targeted by Stormfall archers. Now Raiders on my left who pretty much out-threat the Sentinels. So I go ahead and just get everyone out there, do the initial deployment for turn 1. Basically everyone runs, trying to get into place. Get my Machine Wraith up the board as quick as I can to A, make him a target so my opponent isn't shooting at anything I need, and B, threaten where my opponent can put his jacks. I go ahead and advance Deathjack up there early. Deathjack's kind of a big target, so I try and use him to lure pieces of my opponent's army out. So I put him up next to a building so he's got some cover, but so he's an immediate threat. And then I go ahead and disperse the rest of my infantry. One thing I'm looking to do is I'm looking at Stormfall archers. I'm trying to basically get their souls as early as I can. The sooner I get souls on Scaverous, the better. I'll be able to open up my options in terms of when to use my feat and what spells I want to use. So I go ahead and put Soul Harvester on the Satyxis Blood Witches so they can get some souls from Stormfall archers. And then I kind of move up and get my Arcanoids into place. And just move up my last Machine Wraith to contest the zone.
So, as soon as his turn ends, I think I think I've got a shot to use my feat to kill Deathjack. He's left it in range of all my Stormfalls. I've got Fortune to upkeep on the AFG, and I'm gonna try to take out the Deathjack. I don't have a lot of melee stuff besides the Sentinels, and taking it out once I'm engaged is gonna be really difficult. So I'm gonna try to stand, aim, have my Rat 9 with rerolls to knock it down, and hopefully the dice will be nice to me on some brutal damage rolls, and I'll be able to kill plenty of the Deathjack. Anything else I kill on this turn is a bonus. But I think popping my feet to kill Deathjack before it gets any work done will definitely make it worth it. Killing Deathjack before it has a chance to do anything is really going to give me a good shot in this game to really hang in for the attrition in the long game.
Cryx turn 2. Okay. I looked at my opponent's list thoroughly before the start of the game, and still I did not see every possible threat it presented. And my opponent used his feat and killed Deathjack, despite the fact that Deathjack had extra armor on him, and put me into a 23-point hole much earlier than I anticipated. Like, I knew Deathjack was going to get targeted, I just did not expect my opponent to bring as much firepower to bear as he did, and all of this was made possible by the fact that I did not think that he would be able to knock him down. Of course, hindsight's 20/20, so I have to kind of make the best of the situation now. So now I am forced to play a lot more aggressively than I intended, get all the Blood Witches up there, and start earning the souls. One thing that I learned that I hate learning the hard way is my opponent had a model that slipped my mind that prevented souls from being collected. And so I got denied a couple souls early on, and that kind of began to get me off my plan. So with Blood Riches, I'm doing Death Strike, because at this point I'm trying to increase the number of dead models that they create. Not Death Strike, I'm sorry. They went Incorporeal. Because I know right now my opponent has limited magic attacks, and if he wants to have a Jack stand still to shoot at a Blood Witch, that's kind of a win for me. But I keep Soul Harvester on them, because I'm hoping at some point in time I'm going to be able to get rid of that one model that prevents me from collecting souls. But aside from my opponent having a couple miles into the zone, I feel I'm firmly in control of the nearby zone. Although I'm looking at how my opponent has got his Sentinels deployed, and I know that they're going to be a problem. But I'm just going to worry about them later. I'm continuing to focus on Stormfall Archers and get rid of them. That's the goal for turn 2. Get rid of the Stormfall Archers. Although they're probably, use them for whatever purpose my opponent intended. If I get rid of them, I can effectively get control of that nearby zone. So after I move up Skarlock, or not the Necrotech and Skarlock in base to base with the flag, I got my soul there. Now I just need to worry about getting rid of contesting models. Looking to try and go on a scenario victory in this particular game. Sentinels are tricky, especially the way my opponent's got them deployed. Like, he's got them in excellent spots. He's got them in groups instead of kind of all together. And one thing I will always remember about Sentinels is that they have vengeance, so don't want to kill them unless I can kill at least half the unit to try and mitigate some of the vengeance attacks. So once I, kind of get into place, I know I need to kill at least one of them in order to stop them from contesting. So I just go ahead and go with the Raiders. Or not necessarily the Raiders, but Nightwretch. Take a pot shot. Nightwretch has saved me a game, so he now gets a minor amount of respect. He used to have no respect, now he's at minor. But he fantastically actually hits with his shot and kills a Sentinel, giving them vengeance. So at this point, I am committed. I have to take out as many as I can. So I go ahead and activate Scaverous, or not Scaverous, sorry, his character Jack Erebus. Try and get him in there. He can easily take care of 2 Sentinels. My opponent had popped his mini feat, so I wasn't going to make him stationary. And then amazingly, Erebus decides to fail horrifically. He fails to break armor with the 1 attack. So he hits with the remaining 2. Luckily, he's able to kill. The fact that Jack can't hurt Infantryman, kind of, it's silly at best. And then realizing that I'm not going to be able to get at least half the unit, I'm going to do my best to mitigate the damages. I'm going to advance the Satyxis Raiders, gang up on the 1 remaining guy that most of them can get to, and I'm going to try and deploy my Satyxis Raiders as best I can to try and mitigate some of the damage from the Vengeance moves. Vengeance moves doesn't make you immune to 3 strikes, so if I'm able to engage multiple guys with 1 Raider, I'm at least going to be able to keep them tied to their location instead of advancing and getting into a better spot with which to get charges off. And kind of hope and pray that they can hold the line. Now go ahead and activate Scaverous. He casts a Feast of Worms, Stormfall Archers, and misses in fantastic fashion. I'm thinking, what's the worst that can happen? It drifts back and kills 3 of my own Raiders. Let me make things worse. Those Raiders were why I had contesting my opponent's flag, so not great on my behalf.
So it's looking pretty good for me. I need to try to focus on killing his Arc Nodes so that I do not get assassinated. I think if I can kill the Arc Node in front of Ossyan here and get a little bit of work done with the Sentinels on the other side, that attrition-wise, I'll be looking pretty good to start swinging the game in my favor. I spend a lot more focus than I'd like to kill his Arc Node in front of Ossyan. I was really trying to stationary it and missed the first one, went ahead with the second one, and it was just, I don't think it was a good sync, because now Ossyan's sitting naked, and if he is able to get anything in on me, it's going to be trouble. He's got the zones flooded right now. I don't think that the scoring in this game is gonna be easy, but if I can kill his other heavy and his Arc Nodes, I think slowly but surely I can pull this one out without too much issue. I don't think he will have many answers to kill the AFG and to kill Hypnos without any jacks.
Cryx turn 3. Alright, so now I get all my opponent's Sentinels up in my face, and I have part of a Jack alive. So War of Attrition is probably not my favorite at this point. I'm down to Jack. My second Jack is half functional. My opponent still has a lot of archers still there. I mean, he hasn't even brought in his heavy yet, so from that aspect, I am not in the best position, but opportunities are present. So, and follow up on a previous turn, the reason why I did not re-roll the dice roll on the Feast of Worms that had missed the Stormfall Archers is because I didn't want to... I was saving the soul so I could have additional focus on this turn, because I was thinking that this was going to have to be my feed turn, so I wanted more focus instead of re-rolling souls. So, knowing that this is my feed turn, primary focus is to get souls on Scaverous, so activate Erebus. I upkept Soul Harvest on the Blood Witches, because not all of them were in range of that little solo that stopped me from collecting souls, so I really want to get the ability to reroll going, so that when I do have bad dice rolls, I have something to at least help me get a chance there. So that's why I led the turn with Erebus to start taking out some Sentinels. Alright, so with Erebus being done, then kind of looking at some Raiders to really thin out the Sentinels. My opponent had left his caster on no focus, so I kind of dictated to me that this was a turn that I needed to at least try and go for the assassination. So, at this point, committed all the Raiders into the Sentinels. I want to try and take out as many as possible, because if my assassination fails, I don't want to give my opponent a million turns or a lot of attacks into my caster, because their general position states that they're kind of going to be able to go after Scaverous. So the Raiders do a decent job at taking out Sentinels. So my opponent now is only down to a couple of them. So once they're done, I'm going to move the Skarlock back, who's going to cast Telekinesis to get the Arc Node out of cover. I didn't really see this initially, but as I went through the turn, I'm like, if I can get the Arc Node completely out of cover with the Telekinesis, which I was able to do and measure correctly, I might be able to get him in position to actually arc something through him. Up until then, I was looking for things to charge, trying to get my caster within 8 to go after my opponent's caster, but my opponent, he didn't leave anything in the charge range of Scaverous for me to attempt something like that. So luckily I got the Arc Node out of cover, I ran him up. And before I went for the assassination kill, I activated the Blood Witches in order to get a few more souls on Scaverous. So they go ahead, do their thing, serve up a nice party for anything that is a Stormfall Archer. Measures and make sure which souls I can collect and which ones I cannot. I leave myself down to just really taking out as many guys as I can. the war of attrition thus far does not appear to be in my favor. Although scenario, I was looking like I might be able to push that if the game continues. But at least all my small attacks, like pot shots from Saxon Orrik, that managed to kill someone. And then it came down to Scaverous himself. So I move him up and basically my flag so I can get my points, which I probably don't get because my opponent is once again contesting. Go ahead, start off with the telekinesis. Like, the order is kind of important. Telekinesis, bring forward, turn around to drop his defense, and then throw out a Feast of Worms so you drop his armor, and then throw out a couple of Excarnates. So I'll turn around, so he's got a debuff on his defense because he's turned around, he's got a debuff on his armor, so I'm able to overcome it with the Excarnates. And you gotta get the order right, otherwise you're kind of gonna hurt yourself. And maybe my opponent did the math. If he had not dropped down to 0 focus, I likely would not have gone for the assassination, because it took the very last hit to actually kill him.
Well, camping 22 inches away from an arc node is enough to lose and be assassinated. I didn't expect that far of a threat from his arc node. It seemed pretty far away, but between TK and a run and the range of the spells, it was enough to get it done. I think not dumping my entire focus stack on killing his arc node to stationary it at least so that my other stuff could kill it probably is what cost me the game. I think if I would have just camped some more focus there, that I would have had a pretty good chance of winning in the long game. But it was a fun one. It was close. I think both of us had a good time and played well.